Hard to believe there were only 5 games last night. You wouldn't know it from all the drama. Run It Back starts now.
Run it up, the run it back. Run it up, the run it back. Run it up, run it back.
Oh, good, happy Wednesday morning. I would like to introduce everyone because we got to get right to it. A lot of opinions today to share. Stadium Insider Shams Charania, Chandler Parsons, and of course on the end, my great friend, Eddie. I'm just going to call you Eddie. You're doing one name like Brazilian soccer stars. That's it, period. Good?
I like that one. I like it.
I like it. We'll take it. All right, we got to get this thing started because last night it was the, quote, rivalry game between the Celtics and the Lakers. The Celtics winning this one, 122-118. It took an overtime to get there. And let me just say, Lakers went on a 45-12 run. Celtics, a 17-4 run. Then we had overtime. It was a bit insane. But Chandler, as a player, to be a part of this game and then end up losing when you're up double digits in the end like that, how deflating is it?
Yeah, this is super deflating, and honestly, the Lakers showed me something last night during that comeback, though, because that was impressive. And their big three with Russ and AD and LeBron, they all played very, very well. They all played very, very hard. But just to blow that lead is unacceptable. And the Anthony Davis free throw, this is the second time this has happened now. It just happened in Philadelphia. I don't know if it's a mental thing. He's only shooting 82% from the free throw line, which is kind of weird to me because the guy has really good touch. But this one stings. And then the reporters are asking LeBron, do these almost wins mean anything? And they don't, because at the end of the day, it's a loss and you play to win. And this one almost stings more with the comeback and everything you put into it. This one hurts, but look, they lost to a team that they're probably supposed to lose to. I read something that all three of the big three, they didn't sit out 1 minute in the fourth quarter and overtime. That's on him. That's hard to do. These guys are getting old. These guys are playing a lot of minutes. They, at some point, I don't care what they're saying, they got to get a breather. They got to get a rest. And this was an exciting game. This is a fun game. But, yeah, this collapse is going to sting, and this is going to kind of stick with them for a while.
Yeah, I think the point about them all playing the entire fourth and overtime is a good one, because especially with two players similar in style like LeBron and Russ, you got to have a way to stagger them. You got to have a way to find a minute or two to rest LeBron. He's in his 20th season. I know he's beating Father Time. I did not know that. I know he's beating Father Time in his Nike commercials every day, but we have to be honest. He's going to need a little bit of rest. So yeah, that's on him. The thing about this game to me is, look, bad teams will find ways to lose games. They just will. They're bad teams. And that's what the Lakers did last night. They had that game wrapped up. The 2 free throws hurts. He's done it already this year. I don't know. Like, is this a thing that continues? It hasn't been an issue in his career so far, but I mean, that was tough. And it looked like AD was taking it tough after the game as well. Sometimes you lose, you just shake them off, you're laughing, you're on to the next trip. But he was on the podium yesterday, and he was spent. He took that one to the heart for sure.
I mean, there that three at the end of the game AD took too. You could literally see his knees buckling, like he was gassed. That shot had no chance of going in. So conditioning was a huge factor for them in overtime.
I would imagine there was a desperation involved in not taking people out. Look, they are going to be the focus point, right? In the will they, won't they trade talks as things start to heat up here in a few. Shams, what are you hearing as far as the urgency level in LA?
There's a strategic level of urgency, right? Because it's like they really have two different pathways. One is trying to trade and go around the fringes with Patrick Beverley, Kendrick Nunn, those types of salaries, with probably at least one first-round pick like they've tried to do with Bojan Bogdanovic in Detroit. We'll see between now and February 9th. Does Detroit start to move closer to potentially trading him? But other than that, there aren't really a great amount of targets. They're going to prioritize shooting on the marketplace. So players like Cam Reddish, Evan Fournier, those are the types of guys that they're going to look at. But when you look at a Russell Westbrook type trade, he's played a lot better as a six-man. We saw last night he had that big dunk and steal, put the Lakers up 12 with, I believe, just over 4 minutes left in the game. Chandler said it. They have to close that game. You have to be able to capitalize. The Celtics collapsed, and then the Lakers collapsed, and then, obviously the Celtics took the game from there. So I think there's definitely a strategic level of urgency. They don't want to trade their 2 first-round picks. There's not really a star player available as of yet.
Chandler, I mean, how hot is the seat on which Pelinka rests his bum?
I mean, it's got to be pretty hot. This isn't anything new though. Like, this team has not been designed properly. This team needs so much more. And it's interesting because this big three, they found something. And this is a team where they're fully healthy. I don't necessarily want to see these guys in the first round if they can get into that play-in, but they need more. They need shooting. They need toughness. They need a real point guard. They need so much in my eyes. But with that being said, the way Anthony Davis is playing like a top 5 player, LeBron's playing, they're probably the second best duo, other than the duo that they ran into last night. But yeah, this team, this is no surprise to me. Yeah, I think it's very urgent. I think it's been urgent since the first week of the season that this team just doesn't mesh together, and this team needs a lot of pieces around those guys.
Yeah, the seat should be hot under normal circumstances, but the Genie Bus Lakers, they've just shown that they like Rob Pelinka. They extended him. They kept him over Magic Johnson. That was its own power struggle. Like the legend Magic Johnson, they said, no, we're going to go with Rob. And Jeannie has kept her circle tight between Kirk Rambis and all her other trustees. There hasn't been much shuffling there. Even when the whole world knew Luke Walton does not look like a great head coach, they held on to him a little longer than they should have. So they're quick to get rid of players, but Jeannie clearly likes her brain trust that she leans on to help run the organization. And yeah, I don't think Rob's going anywhere. I think this is him. He's going to create his team. I think it's also part of why he doesn't want to get rid of those draft picks, because he's going to need them in 4 or 5 years, because he's probably still going to be there. You didn't question about whether or not he's on the hot seat.
Well, I know that you've been very vocal and we talked about the trading and stuff, but I wonder, because we've seen flashes from this team as constructed, and Chandler touched on that maybe they could do something. I would have to believe there's a desperation involved, but do you think that they're just chilling? Like Pelinka's just thinking, we're going to be good, we'll just ride this out?
They can't be. Not with LeBron. You got to think that LeBron told a fan the other day, like, yo, I'm not going to cry when I break the record. I'm going to cry if I win the title. And so, like, that's all tongue in cheek. And we joke about it because I laughed at it too. Like, okay, all right, LeBron, whatever. But if you're LeBron, like, you have to be competitive. You have to compete every year, or it doesn't fit his narrative. It doesn't fit what he wants to do. So as long as they have him and AD, they have to be disappointed by not being a competitor, a contender. And yeah, they should be. You know, these are 2 of the 10, 15 best players in the league. You should be a better team if you have those 2.
Just threw that 15 in there last second, covered everything. I like that. We want to talk a little Bucks Warriors. Look, Bucks won, and we are happy for them, of course. But I think the story and the focal point has to be a little bit on Golden State right now. That game wasn't close, really. And Golden State now has their record as 2-12 on the road. What is the deal, Chandler? How can a team be so bad on the road, and not just any team, this team?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, watching this game last night, this is a mismatch nightmare for them. The Warriors are so thin on their bench with DiVincenzo, Kuminga, Moody, Lamb. They have no size. And Milwaukee has guys like Bobby Portis that are just coming in 25 and 11, just absolutely punking them. And defensively, the Bucks are just so solid. They got Brook Lopez leading the league in blocks. Giannis covers the floor so well. Drew Holiday didn't even play last night, but they've got this junkyard dog in Javon Carter that really just clamps and just shadows Steph all night long. This is a mismatch nightmare for them. And I think I get why Draymond is saying he's not worried about anybody in the West, because he's worried about the Bucks and the Celtics, obviously. But when you look at their offensively as well, they don't shoot the ball efficiently on the road. Poole and Steph both went 6 for 17 last night. Clay was 6 for 16. It's hard to win games when you're not making shots on the road, and they didn't do that last night. And like I said, this is just a physical mismatch nightmare for these guys, and for them to beat them, they're going to have Steph and Poole and Clay kind of go bonkers and have one of those nights where they're knocking down threes from all over the place.
Yeah, for a game without Drew Holiday in the start on the game, to lose this badly on the road, it's bad. We come and talk about the Warriors every other day and say, look, we're not worried. They're the Warriors. They won the title. But them they're on the road is alarming. They should be better than this. It's not like they're not trying. Like, you feel like they'd almost had the advantage yesterday, but the Bucks shot 55% as a team yesterday. They were just able to just get better shots, get to the rim all night. It was a physical mismatch, and it shouldn't be. You know, this should be a more physical team with Looney and with Draymond. But yeah, I mean, the Bucks came to play. The Warriors, they got to work that out. They got to figure out which of those young guys can actually be a part of their rotation. They got to figure out how to tighten up their defense on the road. You know, 128 points, 55% shooting. That's going to be a loss every time unless Steph is 55 himself. So, yeah, I mean, we're not worried, but it looks bad.
Not worried, look bad. I mean, look, they shot 53s, I think, something like that. Milwaukee in the 20s. But Shams, it is a team that we give a lot of credit to, and we sort of expect them to turn things around, even though this road thing is looking like a bad trend. Are you seeing an opening where maybe they can turn this around sooner rather than later?
I'm going to have faith. One thing that did catch my eye, they've got one of the worst point differentials of any team in the playoffs or play-in tournaments. So they're not having the same level of success as far as last year. They were coasting some games. They would blow out teams on the road. They're just not doing that this season. And I think after the game, there really wasn't much talk about the game. A lot of the conversation was about the refs and the calls, and I think the focus for them, they need to start winning these games on the road and much less on the arguing. And of course, we saw Steph Curry, I believe, get a technical foul. Steve Kerr got a tech last night, almost got thrown out. So just having that poise on the road that we've known them for years and years and years now, that they need to get back to that.
Well, you knew it was coming. Draymond doing Draymond, had a fan ejected last night, said that he was hearing threatening comments from said fan, brought the ref over, and this is sort of how it all ensued. Chandler, well, how are you taking this? Bad look, good look, fair? What?
You want to go first, Michelle, or you want me to take it?
I mean, I got words. I want to know, like, was a gun shown? Yeah. Was a knife brought out? Like, what was the threat?
I mean, listen, what bothers me is they're down 20, they're down 25. If this was a tight game, I don't think he's paying any mind to this, which is the confusing part. But also, I don't know what was said. I do hate the fact that these fans buy a ticket and they can come in there and say whatever they wouldn't say. They wouldn't say that if they saw Draymond at a bar or on the street. They wouldn't say whatever this guy said to him. So he shouldn't be allowed to say this. But you can't pay attention to it. Like you're playing, you're down, you're frustrated. I get it, the emotions of a game, but this should be something that's just kind of overlooked and don't paying any attention to it. Because I doubt if this game was close and it was coming down to the wire, he would listen to what it was saying. But on the flip side, it is these fans do get out of control, and I'm assuming for him to go to this far and have him kicked out, it was probably something really, really bad. I don't know exactly what was said, but it must for me to react like that. It has to be really, really bad. Okay.
But in fairness, Chandler, for you to react like that is probably what we need to focus. This is Draymond, right? So I feel like we sort of have to take that. It's contextual. Like, they're words at the end of the day, unless a weapon or an actual physical confrontation. But for me, it's just such a weak, bad, dumb look and it's a power play, right? Like, you can have a fan thrown out because you're Draymond Green. I don't know. For me, I let the fans take care of each other. That guy would have shut up eventually. I don't like when people are tacky and loud in public situations either. But yeah, it's just, there are more things going on. Like, you are down 20. Figure it out. Maybe that's just being tough.
This reminds me of Russ doing this like 3 times last year when the Lakers were getting smoked. And it's not a coincidence. It happened every time it happened. Lakers were losing by whatever amount of points. I think LeBron did it as well. And it's like the Lakers have thrown more fans out of the game in this season than like wins. But I don't know what he said. It must have been bad. Draymond is actually one of the players that'll probably heckle you back. And I'm with Chandler. I'm with Beadle. You would hope that he wouldn't be concerned about this mid-game. He'd be a little concerned about Giannis getting a runway every time he dribbles the ball or the rebound differential that killed them. But like I guess you could do this every game if you wanted, though. Like you
Every
could find a
game.
drunk guy in the crowd every game
Exactly.
and say, "Oh, he's saying too much. He's got to
Listen.
go." So if they were
Mhm.
winning by 30, Draymond would have been cussing the dude out and laughing.
Fair.
Agreed.
I've seen a fan, technically a fan, Rajon Rondo's family member was thrown out in the NBA bubble. There's like 50 people in the gym. So, no matter where you are in the world, I guess you can get thrown out by a player saying you said something. So, yeah, I was in the bubble. Literally, there was like 50, 60 people in the gym.
That's awesome.
Rajon Rondo's family member got thrown out. And I'm like, we're like literally by ourselves right now. So crazy.
How do you, that's actually kind of a gift. And by the way, you made that guy's day. You're now the guy that Draymond got. It's just don't give him oxygen. That's what I say. But there were other things that actually happened besides the Warriors losing this game. Giannis called for 2 10-second violations in this game. And I know this has sort of been a topic the last few days, and we'll get to Mark Cuban, Chandler, but do we like it? Do we like that this is being called?
You know what? I do. It's a simple rule. Like it's 10 seconds. It's like it's equivalent to not calling a 3-second violation of giving someone 5. Like, and a lot of these times refs are giving Giannis the benefit of the doubt where they're giving him 11, 12 seconds. Like, bro, shoot the ball in 5 to 8 seconds. Like, you don't need that much time. Catch your breath. But yeah, it's a rule, and it's a very, very self-explanatory, simple rule. Just shoot the damn ball in less than 10 seconds. It's not because now you're hurting the team. Now you're missing opportunities to get points on the board. So yeah, I think it's petty, but it's more petty on Giannis. Just there's a rule, follow it. Like, what are we doing?
Well, he said he's going to take 9.5. I feel like that's a nice change, right, Eddie? That's good enough. That's still under the rule.
Take 5.5, Giannis. Like, his routine is incredible. Like, obviously he's getting these violations, but it's like so long and annoying. Like, I love Giannis, but there's a reason why opposing crowds were counting to 10 while he was at the free throw line 2 years ago when they won the title. So
yep.
Like, bro, just shoot the shot. Look, he's doing all this, and he doesn't even have the ball yet. Look, yeah, like, come on, bro, enough.
Yeah,
the
clock hadn't even started till he's getting the ball, and he's doing yoga.
Watch James. James is disgusted. Like, Chandler, how long was your free throw routine? Like,
bro,
2 dribbles, a spin, get it up.
Not even a spin. Like, 1 dribble, a deep breath, and let it rock. Like, it's like you guys don't know if you golf, but you sit there, you stand over the ball, and you're overthinking it. It's like you just get nothing but bad thoughts the more you wait. And also, it's not like he's an elite free throw shooter. Just
Right.
Make it quicker. Stop overthinking it. Now it's such a deal. I guarantee you the next road game, the crowd is going to be back on him. Like, just it's a simple rule, dude. Just shoot the ball.
Yo, you know what I've always wondered, and Chandler, you played. I'm curious your thoughts. When like a J.R. Smith, he doesn't even dribble. He just like kind of throws the ball to himself and then just shoots. What's the difference between actually dribbling the ball and shooting and just spinning it to yourself? I've always been curious.
Free throws are mental. So I feel like the longer you sit there and the game stops, it's easy to catch a swing and knock down a shot in the flow of an offense. But now when you're fouled and you're at the free throw line and there's 20,000 people looking at you, you kind of feel that. And that's my point to Giannis is the longer you take, the more you're thinking and the more the crowd is booing and like, it's like, I'm the opposite. I'm catch it. I get it. Sometimes you're tired and you may take longer than others, but yeah, to be 11, 12, 13, like, yes, less than it should be. The rule should be 5 seconds because no one wants to see him sit here and do this.
Yeah, 10 seconds is a long time. If you've ever done TV, you know how long 10 seconds feels. But Mark Cuban, your buddy, has actually admitted now that they have called the league to complain about how long Giannis has been taking. Are we good with the snitching, Chandler?
I don't love it. It's don't throw stones when you live in a glass house either. Now teams are you just open up the floodgates to call on Luka for all the stuff he does. But it's true. As an opposing team, it's annoying, man. Like, this is like, it stops the flow of the game. It's ridiculous. Like, the fact that I think we're talking about like a 5 and under YMCA league rule right here. We're talking about a grown ass man in the NBA taking too long at the free throw line. This is ridiculous. But snitching is also a little petty.
Yeah, this is a bad combination of the two. Switching our focus over now to the Philadelphia 76ers, a team that we started out the season, I think, probably wanting to talk about more, kind of died down. Embiid, though, had 31. It was a 20-point win over Sacramento. He now leads the league in scoring, but it's their third win in a row. They're sitting fifth in the East. It seems like things are pointing up. Eddie, do you think this is a team that people should start to fear a little more?
Yeah, and because of the guy we're looking at get bucket after bucket right now, Joel Embiid, he's been a monster for the last, since he's got back from his injury, basically. And he's a game changer. He's an absolute game changer in this league. There's really no team equipped to guard him when he's focused and he's able to play his game, and James is allowing it. So yeah, they are a dangerous team, and they're going to be the dark horse all season long if they stay healthy and they find a good rhythm. The Bucks, the Nets, whomever else out east, they should be worried. I wonder if they're on Draymond's list of teams to worry about out east.
Yeah, they should be. And then Philly's like a team like Brooklyn where they have so much talent and they have those two players that they can go off any single night. And they're a very, very, very dangerous team. When you have James playing the way he's playing and you have Embiid playing at an MVP level, and you got a guy, Tyrese Maxey, which I think they're best when Maxey's scoring, James is passing, and Joel's doing his thing. Then you have this three-headed monster with guys that just are getting the reps now, like Shake Milton and Niang and Tobias Harris. He's been kind of thrown into this role now where he's picked his game up with the opportunity that he had with these guys out. So this is a deep offensive exploding team with, I think, the best big in the NBA. And yeah, they're dangerous. Like they have stars, they have size, they have speed, they have shooting. They can do it all. And they're starting to find their rhythm now. And to me, they're up there in the East, and I don't want to see them.
Shams, as far as this team sort of cementing their role as one of those to be feared in the Eastern Conference, what do you think they need to do?
I think James Harden is the guy that I'm going to keep looking at. I think he's got probably the most difficult job out of any superstar star player in the league, because he's got to play a little bit like how he was in Houston, but he's also got to distribute the ball and be a game manager. They're 6-2 when he has 10 assists or more, and just finding that balance between him, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, like that's all going to be very important. And that balance with Joel Embiid, Joel is playing like arguably the most dominant player in the league right now. That's his team, that's his offense. And so how does James Harden continue to find his stride and be that guy while still getting everyone else involved? Chandler, you play with him. I'm curious, like he's got to play like Houston James. He's also got to play like this distributing James. How does he find that balance? Can he find that balance? Yeah,
it's going to be interesting when Maxey comes back, but I think he needs to be a distributor first. But with Maxey out, yeah, he's still capable of, he's got the ISO, he's got the step back, he can get to the free throw line. James can get 30 points in his sleep. He's just got to pick and choose his points, his spots on the floor. When Embiid's got the ball, when he's got it rolling, he's unstoppable. And I like what they're doing now with Thibault and PJ Tucker. They're in the starting lineup. They kind of relieve that pressure off him defensively, because we all know he doesn't love to play defense. But the lineup, the depth that they have, and these guys coming off the bench that can kind of help take that load off him, just let him focus on getting these other guys involved, getting Tobias Harris his touches. He had 15 assists last night. Like I said, this is the best version of him when he's not turning the ball over. He's picking his spots to score. The big man's dominating. They just got to find a way to do this when Maxey comes back, because he's also a bucket.
I love the Thibault and PJ point as well, because one, they help on the defensive side, obviously, but two, it does almost force them to play through Joel Embiid and be able to play Joel Embiid's game and let him have dominant performances like tonight. James had 15 assists last night, and those guys shot 5 of 7 from 3. I guess he assisted at least 4 of them. So he's, it fits in and perfect. And when they add Maxey to that mix, you can kind of see what is the best situation for them and where they can build on.
One of the other games last night, of course, it's like a weird Freaky Friday role reversal going on here. It's the Rockets and the Suns, but no Booker for Phoenix. However, Rockets 5th straight home win, and the Suns 5th straight loss. Eddie, are you selling stock on this Phoenix team?
No, because they're missing Devin Booker. They're missing their best player because Chris Paul, Chris Paul might be in the way a little bit. And I think at some point they'll have to address and rectify that situation. But no, I'm not selling my stock. I do think it's funny Draymond dismissed them in the way he did. But, 2 weeks ago, they looked like the best team in the league. And we're talking about Book could be an MVP candidate. And when you miss him, you're going to be a much different team. Also, Mikal Bridges, like one of the worst games of all time yesterday. I think it was 1 of 18 at one point. He finished 4 of 24. You can't miss 20 shots. Your coach called you out on the podium and said, yeah, that's a bad game, but Mikal missed 20 shots. So it is what it is. That's got to sting a little bit. I was texting some guys during that game. And they were like, yo, I know he's wild embarrassed right now being 1 of 17. And how could you not be?
Yeah, 4 of 24 is tough. And he's not the type of player to do that either. He's not this high volume, bad shot taker. So that was interesting. But yeah, I think the Suns they got to find a solution to this Jay Crowder thing. They got to make a move. They need a breath of fresh air. And am I panicking? No. Chris Paul, I think his best days are behind him though. Devin Booker's out. Cam Johnson's critical to this team. He's out. Am I worried? No. I think when they're fully healthy, I still think they're going to be contending in the West. But these are the type of losses that, with Houston's playing good. I think it's good for these young guys that although they're tanking, they don't want to establish these bad habits. They don't want to have these losing ways. And these kids have found something here and they're playing hard. And Jalen Green is playing, really, really good. But yeah, this Phoenix team, they just need to get healthy, and I think they need to make a move ASAP and kind of solve this Jay Crowder thing and put that behind them.
Yeah, Shams, I just throw right to you on that. What's going on there? What is the latest? Is anything changing behind the scenes?
I think the Suns feel exactly how Chandler feels. Like they understand that they need to make a move, and I do think in the next coming days we're going to start to hear more increased urgency, as well as potentially more scenarios that could be at their disposal to move Jay Crowder, but they're going to continue to engage. It's likely if they're going to trade him, it'll be a 3-team type of construct. It doesn't appear that there's any more legs to that Houston, Milwaukee, Phoenix concept. But I think in the coming days, you're going to start to hear a little bit more about their efforts to try to move a guy like Jay Crowder, because that's a starting 4 that they're without. Cam Johnson, another starting 4. So they're down 2 starters. They're down Devin Booker right now. That's a lot to be without it. Devin Booker, it's tough with his hamstrings. He's been dealing with these hamstring injuries for the last basically 3 seasons, this year and the last 2. So hopefully he's back on track and back on the court soon.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here. Coming back, we're going to talk about whether or not there should be a winner-take-all game to determine first pick of the draft. But first, what could have been, perhaps, the dunk of the year.
Run it back, run it up, 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 run it back, run it up.
Welcome back. It's time to get a little scoop from Shams. And this was a guy, I think, feel-good story last year, but we're missing him. Gary Payton II. What is going on?
Yeah, he has not played yet this year. He had core muscle surgery over the summer, and there was hope that he'd be ready for the start of the season. He has not been so far, but I'm told he is hoping and targeting a return season debut over the next couple weeks. This is a guy that signed a 3-year, $28 million deal in the offseason. So he played a utility, kind of do-it-all role, came back out of nowhere in the NBA Finals last year for the Warriors. So there's a lot of hope that he's going to be able to provide some of the same type of depth and really being able to play the 4, the 3, the 5 at different points for this Trailblazers team, even at the height of 6'3", 6'4". So the hope is that Gary Payton, before the new year, is able to make it back onto the floor.
Man, he left on such a high. He's got to be itching to get back. Shams, thank you, as always. Enjoy the rest of the week. We will see you on Monday morning, bright and early. Gentlemen, it is time to convince me. Eddie, you're up first. So convince me that just like in soccer, NBA games should have a continuous clock, and then we get a little stoppage time added on the end.
I like this. Imagine the stoppage time for the Bucks games after the 3-minute long Giannis trips to the free throw line. We could use it. It's going to suck for the guy who has to keep track of that and guesstimate. I do love like the inexactness of soccer. When there's a free kick, yeah, we just roll it wherever. I just throw in the ball from here. Yeah, it's 7 minutes. Keep going, guys. Whatever. This would be cool. Like, maybe it'll speed these guys up with some of the whining and complaining and rolling around on the ground, hoping there's a replay review for a flagrant that's never coming. Maybe, just maybe.
I don't hate it. And it is part of the mystery of soccer. Like, do we have 4 minutes added, 9 minutes?
Yeah. I like it just to see which players will do like the crazy flopping and how long they'll stay down. I feel like we have an idea of who the main guys would be, but it would be fun to kind of throw this dynamic in. And like Eddie said, the free throw lines, the complaining to the refs, the talking to the crowd, all this stuff, there'd eventually not matter, and there'd be more time and more basketball and more action. So I like it.
Yeah, like last night, Draymond wouldn't have wasted time because he would have been off against the clock.
Beadle, just say it. We're talking about LeBron. Just say it. Just say it. We're talking about him.
We know who we're talking. He who shall not be named, Eddie. You know the drill. Chandler, you're up next. Okay. Convince me that the two teams with the worst records should duke it out. Winner gets first pick in the draft. Loser gets last.
I absolutely love this because I hate tanking. I think it's so soft. I understand it's strategic and guys want to, get the highest pick possible, but there should be some sort of risk and reward for that. And this is kind of the ultimate way to handle that, where, if you have a shitty, bad season where you lose all year long, you still have a chance to, that you have to prove, and you have to win a game. You have to play. You have to show why at the end, after such a bad year, why you're worthy of this first pick. So I like it. I think it'd be great for the game. I think, it would be great for, like, people would watch this game. No one really would want to watch the Rockets versus the Magic, but if this game had some juice to it, people are watching.
Oh, I'm watching this, right, Eddie? Like, you kind of raise your eyebrows. This to me would be amazing.
Yeah, and the risk reward of, I might get the last pick. That even takes away from, let's say a team is middling and say, we're just going to tank all the way and we're going to win that game. That even takes away a little bit of that risk, because it's like, if we lose that game, though, we're screwed. So this is, add some stakes to it. Add some stakes to game 83. I'm all for it.
Teams would then find a sweet spot to finish like the third or fourth worst record just to stay out of this game.
Well, there's always going to be a manipulation, but we'll keep coming up with ideas, and then this will get fixed as we go. Yeah. Eddie, convince me that players should be allowed to, and perhaps maybe even encouraged to post, whether it be on Twitter, Instagram, during games.
I believe the WNBA does this or has toyed with this. There's no harm. And look, I hate to be the bad guy, and, I might lose some follows on NBA Twitter or whatever, but guys are tweeting during the games. They're running to the locker room. They're checking their stuff, and they're doing that. They're at the timeout or whatever. You see a guy check out of the game, maybe go to the bathroom. They're checking their mentions. They're checking their likes on IG. They're doing all that. I've watched my IG story before and said, "Yo, isn't that person on the court?" And then that, lo and behold, that person's been on the court. So they are. Just let them. I don't know why this is a rule. It's really weird to me. I've watched guys pull their phone out in warmups. Like, your phone is in your warm-up pocket? What is that? So,
well, if you're listening to music, I guess you would have your phone.
I will say, Zebo used to keep his flip phone in his sock in Memphis, but that was more during practice and shoot around. This, I think, is just protecting the players, because like Draymond Green would get fined every single game if he had access to his Twitter on the court with, whatever, the refs, the fans, the other team. There would be a lot more fines if this were to happen, but man, it would be entertaining. It's just, there's no real difference in, miking a player up during a game and letting him tweet, right? It's just, obviously, You'll notice whoever's mic'd up is a lot more talkative and a little, corny. It's not really real. But if you had the access to tweet, that's a game changer.
Oh, I'm not going to complain about rich guys paying fines. I'm sorry. I'll take the entertainment.
I'm not either. I don't know why we have to protect them from that. They should figure that out. That's how it works. That's what fines are supposed to do. Deterrence. We're taking a quick break. But up next, could LeBron actually play until he's 45? And how dangerous are the top teams in the West? It's the danger zone when we return. Well, there it is. Dennis Schroeder saying that LeBron plans on playing until he's 45. It's just so funny to me that he's the one that said it. But the idea of that, I mean, we know he spends $1 million a year on his body. He wants to try to play with his kid, yada, yada. But are you buying it? The idea that this man will play until he's 45. Chandler, you first.
I wouldn't put it past him. This guy's a physical specimen. He like you just said, he spends the time and the money on his body and his craft. And we all know he wants to play with his son that we don't even know if is going to make the NBA, but I think LeBron's going to do everything possible to stay in shape. He's got the physicality, he's got the IQ, he's got the game. I could see him just turning into a 5 or a point guard and playing till 45. And I would not be surprised at all.
Eddie,
yeah,
I
think he's gonna. I think there's gonna be some type of competitive spirit here. 45. I mean, this is 6 years away, so 45 is a lot that you're asking for.
That's a long time.
You know, if he's comfortable being the old grizzled bench version of LeBron or being a 10th, 12th guy, I could. Udonis Haslem is probably going to play 21 seasons, you know, and he's nowhere near the player LeBron is. All jokes aside about LeBron, it is really amazing what he's doing at this age and this far into his career to still be averaging 25 points a game, to have done that for his entire life, essentially. It is pretty amazing. So whatever the decline is over the next 3-4 years into a role player, that's also amazing if he's a role player and you're 25. So, yeah, if he wants to challenge Tom Brady for like the oldest dude out there, why not? Teams will sign him. Teams will pay to have him in their arena.
It's up to him. Like any team, I think all 30 teams would take him if he's moving and breathing at that age. So I think it's not. It's just. I think it's whether he wants to or not. I think physically, mentally, I think he'll be able to do it. So it's really, if he wants to play, no doubt in my mind, he plays till 45.
Do you guys think though, like, his legacy, I mean, is that how you'd want your final years to be remembered if you are LeBron James?
I don't think it matters. We don't talk about Wizards Jordan. Like when we do, it's the 2 good games that we remember or whatever. I don't think it matters. As much conversation as there is about LeBron's legacy, his legacy is set. The things he's done cannot be erased. The 3-1 comeback will always be where the LeBron convo starts. So I don't think it matters in that sense. What I wanted to say was, I think there's one team that might not sign him, and it might be the Hornets, because Mike just might be that petty. But in 2 years, the chance for literally any team in the league to have him and Bronny, even if Bronny's never going to play a second for that team, and to sell all those jerseys, like that's too enticing. We're talking millions and millions of dollars of revenue just off that story alone. And he's been incredibly vocal, and I'd imagine all of the powers that be behind LeBron, including now Clutch, Bronny's agency, Nike, and whomever else, they're dying to see these two on a court together. If nothing else, for the photo op. And somebody's going to do it. You can bet your bottom dollar. Somebody will draft him in order to get his pop, if that need be.
No doubt. Or even if he's not drafted, someone signing Bronny James just to have the chance of getting LeBron. No doubt.
Yeah, it's the show. You got to do it for the show. Draymond, we talked about how the fact that he said, not the fan part, but the fact that he said that they're not really concerned about anybody in the West. Before we get to the West, shouldn't he be, Eddie?
No, to be honest. I appreciate the confidence in saying this. I appreciate the boldness in saying this out loud rather than just thinking it privately. This team has been arrogant since they were put together. He has to play with this chip on his shoulder. He has to feel like this. I love that he said it. I really do. And the way they ran through the Western Conference last year, I don't see why they would be concerned. The Pelicans, we're going to go through it right now, so let me not step on what we're about to say, but they've beaten some of these guys already. They feel confident against every team on this picture right here.
Crazy graphic, though.
Yeah, I disagree. I think they have a lot of teams to fear. I think they do ooze with confidence. They've been there before. They've won championships, but this is a new team. This is a new wave. The NBA is so deep now. Again, he's confident. They're confident. They've been there. They're the champs. Someone's gonna have to come and knock them off. But when we take a look through this list,
all right,
there's plenty of teams that I think can beat them in a series.
I'm glad you're saying that, because now we're going to go through a few of them. We're going to start 5th in the West right now are the Kings. How dangerous are they, Chandler?
Not them. That is that is one team that I'm rolling with. Wait, are we doing Blazers or Kings? Did you say?
Oh, sorry, we're doing Blazers. That's weird. Wrong one.
By the way, neither of these teams, and I'm happy for them. The Blazers, especially, they have Dame. They found something in Jeremy Grant, Anthony Simons, but this is who I think the teams he's talking about when he says he's not worried about the West, like the teams like this. This isn't a championship contender. They're ways away. It's a feel-good story, but no, if I'm the Warriors, I'm looking to sweep the Blazers and the Kings. I don't know if they're going to be in it, but the Kings are on the same wave.
Okay, so we're putting them together. Eddie, you get Suns. That might be maybe a little more challenging.
Yeah, I mean, the Suns are more dangerous. I just don't think the Warriors fear them in any real way. We've been kind of waiting for this series now for some time, and the Suns, they give them all they can handle in the regular season, but I don't think the Warriors are bothered by this team at all. But if Devin Booker is playing on the level he's playing before he got hurt, they should be a little concerned, because I don't think they have anything for him, and he's absolutely the type of player that bothers them. That's gonna be a tough series for Andrew Wiggins, but we said that for the finals, and he wiped out my guy JT. So I wouldn't put it past them to just obliterate this team if they finally see them when it matters.
Literally.
Yeah, the Suns are definitely one of the top teams in the West, and when they're fully healthy, they're going, and they've been there. They've had success. They know what it takes to win. I think once they get over this kind of Jay Crowder cloud over their head, I think they're going to be super, super dangerous.
They get something going on there. Here's a team that we're sort of back to not talking about. Denver. How dangerous can the Nuggets be, Chandler?
I think they're dangerous. I think they have absolutely nothing for Jokic. When Jamal Murray's starting to play a lot better, Aaron Gordon's playing better. When Michael Porter Jr. gets, these guys have weapons. They have length. They have physicality. Do I think the Nuggets beat the Warriors in a series? Probably not. But this is a dangerous team with, two-time MVP, depth, size. They could create a mismatch for Golden State, and this is definitely a team that they're going to have to go through, and to beat 4 times is no cakewalk.
I've seen the Nuggets flame out in the playoffs enough times. I'm not worried about them at all. We're about to talk about 2 teams that I do think are a little concerning.
Yes.
But this one is not. So I'm not rocking.
I'm with you, Eddie. I feel like we've seen that movie before. We kind of know how it ends. But these 2 guys, the second and first place spots right now, Grizzlies in 2. I don't know. It's the unknown. Eddie, how dangerous are they?
My guy, Warriors World, who's like he's a super fan for the Warriors, and he does gear and all this stuff. He has a shirt that says, titles over hypotheticals. And he's right.
Oh,
With that said, the Grizzlies were up on them last year, and they played them as well as anybody else before Ja Morant got hurt. And then they won a game without Ja Morant. They have the matchup that really bothers them, and Ja's ability to penetrate the way he does, the ability to beat anybody on that roster off the dribble the way he does, just creates havoc for them. That team is so strong defensively in the ways that bothers the Warriors. They switch everything. They're able to handle off-ball movement, and they're able to just really muck it up for the Warriors and all their off-ball stuff. This is the most dangerous team for them, I think, in the league.
Okay.
And
wow.
They had looked like they had their number, and then they had their injuries. And look, everybody has their injuries, and it is what it is. But yeah, if we're doing 1 to 10, this is a 10 as far as dangerous for the Warriors.
Ooh, Chandler, you agree?
I do. I think the Grizzlies are young. I think they're hungry. That is a tough place to play when it's rocking. They have good defensive matchups with guys like Dylan Brooks that can kind of chase those shooters around. They grit, they grind. Ja Morant is an absolute star. They have shooting with Desmond Bain. Jaren Jackson basically missed all last year. He's back. This is a team, that again, in a 4-game series, it's different. All the scouting is out the door. It's going to get slowed down. They're going to key in defensively on Poole and Clay and Steph, and they're going to double team Steph. They're going to trap him. They're going to make Draymond Green shoot the ball. This is a team that is going to give them fits, and I can see the Grizzlies winning this series.
All right, so that makes things interesting. Eddie's got them at a 10 on the danger chart, but you got the Pelicans still, and they are sitting at first. Chandler, how dangerous are they?
They're very dangerous. Zion is playing at an MVP level, and they're doing pretty much all this without Brandon Ingram, who's arguably their best player. Same thing with them. I love their defensive mindset with Herb Jones and Alvarado. CJ McCollum is used to being that number 2 option with playing with Dame for those years. This team is tough, and they're well coached, and they play hard. And this is a physical team with size, and same thing. Like I'm looking at by the way, we didn't even talk about the Clippers. Give me the Clippers from the other night that pounded the Celtics. That's another team who I would have some fear if Kawhi Leonard is healthy and playing like that. So I respect the confidence in Golden State, but it is by no means going to be easy just to get to this finals against Boston or Milwaukee or whoever they have their eyes on.
Yeah, if you remember a few weeks back, the Warriors ducked the Pelicans' fade. They played everybody versus the Rockets the night before and sat everybody when they had a chance to go up against them. All the things Chandler mentioned are issues that they present. Their length, their size on defense, their scoring ability on the other end. They're a dangerous team for them as well. You want to see how they handle the playoffs. You want to see them get their feet wet. But if they don't see them to the conference finals and they're ready, it could be a tight series, and I respect the Warriors.
It'll be fun if that's what we get. By the way, he could just be saying that to convince himself. We're taking a quick break here. When we come back, it's Wednesday, which means it's the guys' last shot to redeem themselves. It's parlay time. Well, before we can get today, we have to appreciate yesterday. There it is, a 50%er. It's almost something. You guys split. So both had one right. Both had one wrong. Better than 0 for 4. That's really my positive take on that. Guys, feeling good? Feeling confident?
I got to be honest. That Celtics cover was something. They won by 4 points in the spread, and they were up however many. And I'm just during this Lakers run, I'm just like, this isn't happening again.
I love it. But Eddie, you can redeem yourself. This is it for the week. What do you have?
All right. I got Donovan Mitchell over 26 points against the Mavericks. Just think it's a game he's going to get a lot of shots up in, and I like that matchup for him. On top of that, I have Beatles Spurs. I'm taking the points, 7.5 points against the Blazers. It's a lot of points in a basketball game. Spurs have been on a little streak. So I've definitely just doomed them and ended the streak. And congrats for the number 1 overall pick.
Well, I'm gonna threaten your life via text if this actually jinxes them. Chandler, what do you have?
Eddie, I like the Spurs pick a lot. I really do. I like the Hawks. I like the Hawks -2.5 at Orlando. Orlando's been playing good. They got a little bit of a winning streak going, but they don't want to win these games. They can't. They shouldn't win these games. They're not a better team than Atlanta. And then like Eddie's pick, I think this backcourt in Cleveland is the best backcourt in the league. And I think they go off tonight in Dallas. And I got Darius Garland over 19.5 points.
Okay. All right. There it is. The magic that could happen. And if you bet $20 on this bad boy, you could win $230. But an executive decision is currently being made that if you blow this one more time, I'm coming in to clean things up on Monday. It's time for me to put my betting prowess on the table. Are you scared? Eddie looks very terrified to me right now.
I am. I think we should go 6-leg parlay, make this segment a little bit longer, and like really blow it. Like really
take some heat off us.
Really,
yeah,
we're gonna go from
really
4
waste our
to
money.
6. All right, we're gonna give it a shot. That does it for us. We're on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Have a great weekend. Be safe out there. We're gonna do our best, and we will see you guys Monday.